One of the handiest ways to filter data in an Access query is to add parameters to it. And as an example, if you're always looking for records by, say, date, you can have the query prompt you for a date, like this. And when you click OK, that runs the query and filters your results. So, to add parameters to a query, click Create, then Query Design, and build any of these queries. Select, Make Table, Append, Update, Crosstab, or Union. For this demonstration, I'll use a select query that I built earlier, and to add the parameter, I click the criteria row of the field I want to filter. Type a pair of brackets, then between them, the text I want users to see in the box that pops up when they run the query. This is your parameter. Access also calls this an identifier, by the way. Next, I'll copy my text without the brackets, click Parameters, and paste. I did that because this value needs to match the one in the criteria row. Now choose a data type from the list and make sure this is the same data type as the underlying table field. Click OK, run the query, enter the value, and there's your result. So I'm going to go backward for a minute. Entering your identifier and setting a data type here is a great way to keep users from entering the wrong type of value when they try to run the query. As an example, I'll enter a name instead of a date, and you can see I get an error message. But without this, if I make the same mistake, you can see I don't get a result. If this happens to your users, they may not know where they went wrong, so set a data type for them. You can also add more than one parameter to a query. For example, you can filter by order dates and product names. The query asks you for as many criteria as you've specified, and you can just type and press Enter here. No need for a mouse, and there's the result. Now, a couple things to remember. First, what you enter here has to match a value in your data. And second, you can't enter part of a value. If you make either mistake, you get no results. Also, I mentioned earlier that you can add parameters to several types of queries, including crosstab and union queries. You add parameters to all those query types just like I've shown you. Brackets and text on the criteria row, and identifiers in the parameters dialog box. But union queries are an exception to that rule. To add a parameter to a union query, you open it in SQL View. You'll see two select statements and two from statements. The select statements list the fields you want to filter, but the fields may not have the same names. For instance, you see order date in the first statement and creation date in the second statement here. So to add the parameters, you insert a clause after each from statement. You enter where, the field name, an equal sign, your parameter, and don't forget the brackets. Also, make sure you use the same prompt in both places. If you don't, you have to complete two dialog boxes when you run the query. So those are the basics of adding parameters to a query, and up next we'll look at how to use logical operators and wildcard characters with your parameters.